Most speculative fiction writers aren't philologists like Tolkien was. Without a formal background in linguistics, developing a comprehensive conlang can be a daunting undertaking. Many writers choose instead to design a fictive language whose sole function is to serve the surrounding narrative and to support existing structures within their world and character building. Sometimes they use a single word or phrase, a rhyming meter, an automatopoeia, a break in grammatical convention, for example, when creating distinctive and diverse voices. In C.S. Lewis's The Silver Chair, Glimfeather speaks in a pseudo-poetic style, marked by the exclamation, "To-woo, to-woo," which mimics the owl's trademark call. In Lloyd Alexander's The Chronicles of Prydain, the creature Gurgi speaks in a rhyming style that pluralizes verbs to create novel nouns, such as crunchings and munchings, and sneakings and peekings. When building and delineating peoples and places in your world, fictive language can be a useful tool. Sound alone can say a great deal about a geographical location or culture. For instance, if your venue is cold, you may want to imitate the phonological quality of shivering or teeth chattering. If the social, political, or ideological paradigm is oppressive, this may affect what types of words are used to describe marginalized versus privileged populations and how those words are treated in terms of capitalization and even sentence placement. What you choose to emphasize and de-emphasize in the language can help the reader make intuitive inferences about the world in question. New writers often approach the problem of fictive languages with dread. Let's face it, we know we're no Tolkien, and we're all afraid of ending up with Eggyweg on our litso. Bruised egos aside, it's a time-consuming and labor-intensive ordeal. So ask yourself before launching into a full-on conlang, will a dialect do? In A Clockwork Orange, Anthony Burgess uses a Russified English dialect called Nasdat. The novella has, but needs no glossary. Its vocabulary is woven into the text in such a way that you learn as you read. By the end, you're practically fluent in it. Words that are phonologically familiar, like babuchka, meaning old woman, help to ground it via its real-world inspirations. And yet this language feels just foreign enough to engender the necessary suspension of disbelief that enables dystopias to run riot in our collective imagination. The desired degree of separation will determine how elaborate your fictive dialect needs to be. The closer your world is to your readers, the closer the language you employ can be to your native tongue. If you're writing contemporary fiction that takes place in the here and now, there should probably be some distance between your voice and that of, say, Finnegan's Wake. If your story takes place in another time or another world entirely, you likely won't want to deliver a narrative or dialogue in the current vernacular. Context influences everything, from what is said to how it's said. That being said, I wonder what the Westron translation is for "Are we there yet?" In Star Trek Next Generation's Darmok, the writers contrast a fascinating approach, or arguably an innovative alternative, to conlang with more traditional fictive languages used throughout the series, such as Klingon. The Temerians, a race of humanoids encountered by the Enterprise, for all intents and purposes speak English, and yet English-speaking humans have no idea what they're saying, and vice versa. The words themselves, with the notable exception of proper nouns specific to Temerian culture, are the same. The syntax is largely the same, though Temerians speak primarily in phrases rather than full sentences. Statements like "Temba, his arms wide," and "Shaka, when the walls fell," sound incomplete. These are fragments when framed in the context of grammatical convention, but in Temerian, they are fully realized allegories that communicate through mechanisms similar to simile and metaphor, with situations represented by way of historical or mythological events, and states of being interpreted symbolically. It is, in rather reductive terms, a language of references, emblems, and comparisons. What can speculative fiction writers take away from this unique approach? Firstly, that fictive languages do not preclude the use of real languages. Secondly, that they are not necessarily rooted in fictive words. When we think of conlangs, we think of Klingon, Westron, Dothraki, maybe Trigeta slang, which derives its influence from Creole and is far more accessible than the previous three. But we don't think English with a twist. We generally don't think Temerian. But we should. While some conlangs are more navigable than others due to their syntactical and phonetical similarities to their reader's own language, most present an upfront barrier to understanding, the words themselves. Tamarian is different in that the words are familiar, but their function is foreign, at least at first glance. And so we as viewers can dispense with subtitles because the language is figurative and translations are literal, and focus instead on the narratives underscoring these words we already know. This shift from a focus on words to a focus on stories brings us deeper into the culture by default and facilitates a better understanding of the people who call upon them in a referential tongue. Tamarian is a language engineered for connection, with walls designed to fall. Like Captain Picard, we can learn a lot from listening not just to words, but to stories.